Hey, what's up, guys? This is Josh from Upright Health here with Matt.
Hey everybody.
We got a question from lolzroflcopter.
Lolzroflcopter.
Raffle?
Raffle.
Raffle.
Like he's rolling on the floor
Oh,
laughing.
okay, all right. Yeah, sometimes I don't get the kids' lingos.
TIL. Josh doesn't know
Yeah.
the internet slings.
Lol, that's the extent of my knowledge. But anyways, he had a question about how do I minimize butt wink in the bottom of the squat. So butt wink is kind of a controversial topic. I think that butt wink is a natural phenomenon that happens in your body when you're squatting deep. But no pun intended, but what you have to take into account is when you're loading your body up, you're putting some weight on your back or you're holding weight, is that you got to be careful about how much butt wink you're going into, because what butt wink basically is your pelvis posterior tilting, and that's going to add some flexion into your spine. And usually when you're loading yourself up, you want to minimize the changes that are going on in your spine, and you want to minimize the flexion that's going on in your spine.
Yeah. Lots of weight on your back while you're flexing it is probably not great. So let's go, Lolzroflcopter.
Okay, so we're going to dive into this. We're going to give you guys two things to look at when you're trying to figure out what's going on during your butt wink during your squat. So when it comes to butt wink, there's two different things that could be going on in your squat. Number one is very common, and it has to do with instability and dumping into anterior pelvic tilt. So if you're squatting and you initiate your movement by kind of going into anterior tilt, what you're doing is you're actually decreasing, you're already adding some hip flexion into this movement. So now, as I get down to the bottom here, I'm going to run out of hip flexion early, and to get down deeper, my pelvis is just going to tuck under me, and that's a lot of what you'll see in the gym sometimes is, people dumping into anterior tilt, losing stability throughout their core, and then, you have no control in the bottom here. Your pelvis dumps under, you kind of bounce up out of the hole. Now, one thing that you can look at to see if this is kind of your issue is if you throw yourself a counterbalance by holding a weight out in front of you. This is usually going to kind of force you to not go dump into anterior pelvic tilt as much. So now if I do this and I have a lot less butt wink or no butt wink, then we know that this is an anterior pelvic tilt problem, an instability problem, and we can train that specific issue to improve our squat and to get less butt wink. Now the other butt wink is more of, I think it's kind of more of a true butt wink, and this is when you're already in posterior tilt, and then as you squat down, you're just going into that lumbar flexion.
So that's kind of a problem that I've had more myself. So yours was more being too much in anterior pelvic tilt. My problem has actually historically been more about posterior pelvic tilt. So what we're talking about here is when you're basically you're starting off already kind of in this tucked position, and as you get lower, it just gets worse because you have not only are you lacking coordination to do this, but you may have some pretty tight muscles back here that keep pulling you more and more into posterior tilt. I'm not even sure if I can show you a really bad posterior tilt anymore, but basically you're starting off here, and now you've got that load on your shoulders, and you're going down like this. If your hamstrings in particular are super tight, or the rotators of your hips, your glutes or your piriformis and its five friends in there are super tight, and they keep you in this posteriorly tilted position as you go down, it just gets worse and worse and worse, and it's already not comfortable for me to do much more than this. But you just start tucking your pelvis under. This kind of weight is basically asking your spine to snap. So spinal snapping, generally not considered good form.
So a lot of the time in this situation, you see as like Matt's getting too parallel, he's already butt winking, and that is probably something that we want to avoid, and that might cause problems, right? Like Matt just said. So I think that figuring out which one of these is you is very important in correcting your butt wink, right?
Right.
Because you're going to go after different things. Now, in Matt's situation here, I think this is also characterized by this kind of slumping forward, sitting position. If you're in this position a lot of the day, like at a desk, then you're more going to bring that into the gym to then squat, right? So like Matt was saying, I think working on some hamstring range of motion, alleviating some glute tightness, those things are going to be very beneficial to you, decreasing that posterior tilt, basically.
So you're basically trying to make sure you're addressing the thing that takes you out of neutral, right? So for Josh, his neutral position was screwed because he was in anterior pelvic tilt. Mine was messed up because I was in posterior pelvic tilt. So, not a coincidence, I don't think. Who's wearing glasses and probably was sitting more than the other guy. So, anyway.
I really like the way you put that, though. Addressing what's taking you out of neutral, right? That's really simply put, and correcting that to bring you back into neutral.
Yep. Cool. So hopefully that helps you out, lolzroflcopters.
Hope that helps you out, man. If you like the video, if this helps you out at all, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. Please remember, pain sucks.
Life shouldn't.